Welcome to week five. Week five. Actually, it's week 6 of Every Kid is Groovy. And today I thought I would be in a place where you can see that there's lots of construction going on from within because the house is already constructed, but now the inside work is being done. And that's exactly what we're talking about with yoga. The outside work is pretty much already done. What you see is not what's being worked on, what's being developed. What's being worked on is inside, and we call it a practice because it's essentially never finished. And then as adults, we often impose our life of goals and results to that construction. And ultimately, I don't think it's helpful for kids, and I don't think it's actually helpful for adults either. So when I talk about every kid being groovy as the central philosophy to this yoga teacher training program, this kids yoga adult teacher training program, what I'm really talking about is if we can have it in our mind that nothing is finished, everything that we see is a step on the way to something else, then what we do is we allow infinite possibility, as they talk about in the Course in Miracles, or if you're familiar with Marianne Williamson, you'll have heard of infinite possibility. And that's essentially exactly the same with yoga. The pose is never done, the pose is never finished. And if it is, it's for sure not yoga. It's maybe some outside model being thrust upon us. And so I think it's very, very, very important that as an adult and as a teacher of any description, we keep reminding ourselves that the goal is not the goal, but the goal is the process. The goal is to be part of the journey, to be mindful, in fact, of where you are in the journey's process. And we also have to allow ourselves to make mistakes. You know, tonight I'm going to go and see the world famous Rolling Stones. And I believe that they actually began really their career about a mile from here at a place called Eel Pie Island. And if you saw the Rolling Stones in 1961, and then again, wow, 57 years later, in 2018, you won't necessarily see the journey along the way, but what you will see is not a finished product. You will see a continual being in the moment, whether it's Jumping Jack Flash or Sympathy for the Devil or Steel Wheels or whatever it is. And we have to apply that to kids yoga if we really want to nurture a child's innate sense of possibility and a child's sense of their possibility to become something else. And we always talk about the stories of the Swan, how it starts off ugly and then it becomes this beautiful thing. And we also all are very familiar with the idea of the butterfly, which you'll see, of course, right here, 3 butterflies. So you begin as a worm or this tiny, tiny caterpillar, and then you morph into this almost a nut or a ball that really doesn't look like anything, and then what emerges is this incredible array of colors and possibility. So join with me in allowing every kid to be groovy. Every kid is groovy. You are too, the adult. But let's remind ourselves, letting the child be themselves entails thanking them essentially for when they show us that. Every kid is groovy. There's no exception to it. Every kid is groovy. Join with me. Every kid is groovy.